all about your mindset and how you perceived yourself. Self-perception is like...
Yes. I flew to LA for the first time for 6 months. I'd gotten this 6-month travel visa, and I moved into this place called Home for Dancers, and there I met a ton of dancers from all around the world who were doing the same thing as me, just like trying to see what LA was like and taking dance classes over there, and seeing some of these dancers actually having created a career as a dancer, which was something I never thought was possible. Because in Denmark, you go to school, you get an education, you get a job, and then you build a family, and that's kind of how your life is. And coming to LA and realizing, wow, I could actually just like move here or become a dancer or just like create the life that I secretly dreamed about from watching these movies and like watching like other people, maybe cooler people do, that if I did what these other dancers had done, then maybe I could start doing that as well. And from having that little spark of that idea in my mind, I started reading self-development books and got into like self-development, because when I got to LA, I was in the room with all these incredible dancers, and I was just standing there feeling like I was the worst dancer that I could not, like I had never danced in my life. That's really what I felt like, even though I danced my entire life. Coming to LA, and yes, they were on a completely different level than me, but the fact that I couldn't dance wasn't real. Like I could still dance, and realizing that, okay, I needed to change my mindset, because otherwise I couldn't get anywhere. I would stand in the back of the room and just like protect, like make sure nobody saw me, because I felt like I was terrible. So I got into self-development and realized that I could change my belief about myself, and I started doing that within dance. And then at one point I was like, I've always wanted to get in shape. I'd always tried to change my diet, change my workout routine. I wanted to, get into shape, and I'd always just come up with all these excuses. And I realized looking back that I'd always had this limiting belief that said that I was normal. My fitness abilities were normal. And I realized that held me back, because that kept me in this mindset as when I set my goal, okay, now I'm going to get on this fitness track. Like now I'm going to get in badass shape. I had this deep down desire that I wanted to get in badass shape. But then because I had this belief as in like, no, you're just normal, that would lead me to not go to the gym, skip when I had promised myself to go, or eat that chocolate that I knew I didn't really necessarily want that to be my routine, eating chocolate every night. But once I was like, no, I need to do this for myself, I need to commit. And now that I'd realized that I can change my mind and that will change the outcome in my life, I decided to go all in, full out, get in the badass shape that I wanted. And through that process of challenging myself and really shifting my mindset and working really hard, and committing to myself, having this bigger vision, and like I can change my vision of myself and my life if I do this. Accomplishing that within fitness, I realized that I can do that within all that other aspects, just like I did with dance or with fitness. And now with like the life that I'm living today, I feel everything has come from me realizing that I have a limiting mindset, and then consciously making an effort to change that limiting mindset, and then challenging myself to get there.
So interesting that you didn't once talk about, the actual techniques of dancing or the actual like abilities of fitness, and it was all about your mindset and how you perceived yourself. Self-perception is like everything that Neville Goddard talks about. I don't know if you've ever delved into Neville Goddard. Some of his teachings are really hard to hear because the language seems really old-fashioned, but he talks about how we create our life based on our concept of self, based on how we see ourselves, perceive ourselves, believe what's possible for ourselves. So when you were saying about how you had this perception of yourself that you were like an average or a normal level of fitness, and then you changed that. So what did that actually look like? Like, practically, what did you do to change the story about your ability to be a dancer or your ability to become super fit?
I love that question. I had to realize that I had a limiting belief. And so I would say step number one is figure out what is my limiting belief, and then realizing, okay, what is the belief that I want to start believing about myself? What does that look like? And that is, for me, that was, I am an athlete. I was even cursing, I am a beep athlete, because that was just so powerful to me. And me saying that to myself every day made me like, when I believe this about myself, I'm going to want to go to the gym. I'm going to want to eat those veggies and eat that like healthy nutrition. So that was the first thing.
Wow.
The second thing was also setting a very, very clear goal. If you have a very clear vision, I've realized for me, when I have a very clear vision, the path in how do I get there is so much easier. Where when I don't, if it's just like, oh, I want to become healthy, which is what I had tried to say to myself previously, it wasn't clear enough. It didn't lead me to take clear action and know the kind of person I wanted to be to get there. So for me at the time, I wanted to do fitness modeling. That was like a big goal I had. I wanted to get with Wilhelmina models. And so that was like the clear goal. And because I had that clear goal, I could then figure out, okay, what does my day-to-day actually need to look like for me to get there? And so I think those two things are super important. And then practicing being kind to myself if a day doesn't go like as planned, and knowing that there are setbacks. Like there's no, like with every single journey, there's going to be setbacks, but it's not about what happened the day before. It's about, how do I take care of myself? How do I adjust my plan? How do I speak to myself in a way that encourages me to keep going?